Hi, so I wanted to talk a little bit about playing Edo-style Jinashi Shakuhachi. And your first sound, right? Making the first sound is always the most difficult. When people make a sound at their first try, I usually say that they're a genius because it usually takes you a while to get things ready. And that's why people in Japan don't play Shakuhachi so much these days, because it takes too long. You're used to having everything right away, so you have to be very patient. Um, but old style shakuhachi are a little bit different than modern shakuhachi. So I wanted to talk a little bit about embouchure and how that's different for old style shakuhachi. In the different schools, they tell you different things. Tozanryu tells you to kind of put some tension into your upper lip, like that, to make your embouchure. In Myoan, that's the school that I spent the most time in, we don't really talk about your embouchure at all, and I think that's really the best way to do it. You kind of don't think about your lips at all. Still, when you first start out, you don't end up making a sound, so what do you do about that? I still have times when a sound doesn't come out, right? If there's kind of tension in my body, or if I'm tired. And sometimes the shakuhachi is just telling you, you don't need to play right now, you just need to rest. And sometimes I'll take a nap instead of playing at those times. But other times, if a sound doesn't come out right away, you know your shakuhachi is different. And what you're doing, especially in old style playing, is we don't put any tension into the lips at all, or at least the least amount possible. You kind of let your lips squish into the shakuhachi and adjust to it. And that's all you're doing. And each shakuhachi is different, so if you switch to a different shakuhachi, you might not make a sound right away because you're used to a different one. If that's the case, you just start playing a song. As you're playing, the sound ends up coming out, Or maybe it doesn't, but the trick is not to worry about that. Shakuhachi, especially old style shakuhachi, is not about making a sound or not making a sound. It's, and I have to use my own vocabulary here because I play as prayer, it's your conversation with God. So it's not about, she's good at doing that, or he's bad at doing that. It's not really something that you can evaluate. And again, you don't have to worry about a sound. If no sound comes out, that's your prayer. And if it does, then that's your prayer. But as you're playing, again, especially at the beginning, sometimes the sound comes out, sometimes it doesn't. When the sound comes out, it feels good. And your body kind of remembers that because it felt good. But the trick is not to hang on to it. Just let it, if it comes, you let it come and you enjoy it. If it doesn't come, let it go and look forward to the next time that it happens, However, if we do go ahead and talk about embouchure a little bit, there are a couple things that we can say. One thing would be that we're not used to controlling these muscles consciously in the way that we use them for shakuhachi, and that's actually part of your shakuhachi practice, I think. So it's actually a good thing not to think about it too much. Your body is learning as you're playing, right? Put the shakuhachi there. If you want, go ahead and look in a mirror. It can be helpful. You can see where's the air coming out of my lips with this particular shakuhachi. For me, it's actually different from shakuhachi to shakuhachi. So every once in a while, if it's not sounding right, instead of changing the shakuhachi, I'll look in the mirror for a second and be like, oh, with this shakuhachi, it's kind of coming out of the side of my lips. So I turn the shakuhachi to the side a little bit and adjust it. Sometimes that kind of feedback can be helpful, right? Another thing you can have in mind is, especially at the beginning, you're thinking about it too much, and you should stop. But when you're thinking about it too much, you put too much pressure, too much power into your lips. Some people will go like this. And that doesn't work, right? Or some people will try to make it too small. And that doesn't work either, right? So what do you do about that? This guy, Eric the flute maker in Florida, he's not a shakuhachi player, but he had a really good metaphor that I really like. And I really like him as a person too, because he's a neat guy. He talks about spitting watermelon seeds. Right? Think about it. You're eating a watermelon. Right? You're not specifically putting pressure into your lips, but you are letting just enough of an opening happen for that watermelon seed to pop out. And that's kind of what you're doing in Myoan playing with your air. There's just enough tension in there to let a little opening happen. Right? If you're absolutely no tension in your lips, it'll be like this. Right? That doesn't work for shakuhachi either. Put a little bit of tension in there. And they almost stay closed. If you put a little bit more thought into it, or a little bit more tension, and again, I don't know if this is something you can really do consciously, but eventually it gets to the point where your lips are relaxed, but they're letting just a little bit of air leak out. And you can hear my breath shaking a little bit because probably because I had an extra cup of coffee this morning because my body is so tired today because of the heat. But you start to notice those things about your breath too. And I think that's all we'll do for today. Enjoy. Remember, if you don't make a sound, just don't worry about it. Enjoy breathing. That's part of what shakuhachi is about. Enjoy the feeling of your body. Feel how it feels. If there's any tension in there, just kind of try telling your body to relax. One more thing that I'll add at the end is that feelings, right? It's amazing how much we're not aware of things that we feel sometimes. In Japanese, there's lots of expressions that are helpful for that. We talk about haragatatsu, right? That means when you feel anger. It means the very literal wooden translation would be that your abdomen stands up. But if you notice that lots of times anger happens right in here, you're like, right? Because you think that there's some injustice done, some boundary has been violated either to you or to people who you feel closely identified with. And you can start to feel those tensions in your body too as you pay attention. Where is there extra tension in there, and how can I let it go? Right? And we'll talk about that a little bit more next time with breathing. Cheers.